Hello and welcome back, Josh, Sam, and anyone else who's watching to Lviv and Let Die. You see, we didn't do so well last season, but you can also see that I've done some financial wizardry, and things are looking a little bit better in terms of how much money we have. Let's see why. What happened? Well, last season, just after the end of the season, there was a takeover from a local businessman, Petro Parkhomenko. He took over from Dmitry Shevchenko. This guy came in and told us that he was absolutely not going to give us any more money. I mean, so then why bother? They did take out a loan to cover the $1 million that we were indebted by, and then I have signed a bunch of sold and signed a bunch of players. I also signed a new 5-year contract, a whole 2 years after the last time I did it, which is fine. So let's have a look at the transfers. There's been some fun ins and there's been some fun outs. Some of them happened this year. Actually, they all happened this year. I was just checking that we didn't sell anybody before the season ticked over, but we didn't. As you can see, we made £3.9 million of money, and we bought in a bunch of players for nothing, so we made plenty of money. Juan Carlos Ballon has gone to Bnei Saknin, who have a nice horse on their badge. Off he goes. He's being paid a lot more than he was being paid here. He played for us three seasons, did pretty well, but he's okay. He could have done with. He's not really good enough to be the midfielder that he claims that he is, and he's a little slow for a centre back, and not really brilliant at defensive stuff. His positioning and stuff is not great, but he was pretty good for us. So there he goes. He's gone off now to Israel. Well done to him. Then the one that we all expected to happen, Rodolfo Iantorno, despite being technically very good, if you look at all those things, maybe the first touch was the thing that messed him up. But he didn't play well for us last season at all. It's not like he was one of those players that I often sign and sell who play 3 games and I claim that they've not performed. You know, he didn't play well last season. He did the year before. You can't argue against that. But there he didn't. And we needed the money at the time. That was before I think sort of unfortunately it might have been basically the same day as the transfer, the club changed hands, but we have sold Rodolfo over to this another Israeli team. So there he goes. He scored 22 goals for us over the course of 3 seasons. Not so bad. Bye, son. Then the one that is a little bit annoying, Darwin has gone. He apparently had a £425,000 release fee clause in his contract, which I hadn't noticed. So Sharif Tiraspol came in and bought him from us for £425,000, which the board now tell me was a bad piece of business. And I'm like, well, shut up. Anyway, he didn't play well for us, so I guess it's not the end of the world, but he obviously would have been really good. He doesn't look happy about it. But there we go. Off he goes. Benjamina has left the club despite being a well-named player. He has gone off to Arsenal Kiev, who are in our division still. So there he goes. Maybe he'll play for them. Apparently he's an exciting new signing. That's what they announced when he left. So another player who was announced as an exciting new signing was Thomas Holly, who has gone to Torpedo Vladimir, who I think we've sold a few players to over the last couple of seasons. Do they have anyone else in their squad who we should... Why are we looking at the under-18s? Who we should recognise? Is there anyone there that we should recognise? Yeah, Karim Yilmaz has also gone. Is that mentioned in this list? Yes, in fact, I missed him. He left on a free transfer. I didn't realise. I was trying to hawk him for lots of money, and then he signed for Torpedo on his own for free, which is a shame. We could have probably got some money for him, but people just would not pay for him to come, and it was, what the hell's going on here? And yeah, so we've lost him, but he was terribly injured all the time, so fair enough. And then Juan Carlos Fuentes, who I don't think made a single appearance for us. Nope. I signed him in January, and he went off for £650,000 to Académica in the Portuguese First Division. Is that? Yes, it is. So well done to me for flipping him for quite a lot of money, considering he doesn't really fit into either of the 2 categories of player he is. He could probably be a poor to middling defensive midfielder, like just a kind of a blocker not one for creativity and stuff, but he doesn't really fit into our system. He's not good in either of the two positions, really. So I thought, why not make some money out of him? And we did. To replace these fellas, we brought in some other fellas who are footballers. The first one is the defender, Carlos Cortez, the 19-year-old centre-back. He's pretty good. Comes in from Huachipato. He comes in on a free. He'll probably play right back, but also probably centre-back, depending on where he's needed. He's 19, so he doesn't have to be registered. These are all good things. Similar player, almost identical in fact, just slightly less physical and speedy, Hector Barreto. He comes in from Paraguay. I actually technically signed him before the end of last season. That's why he says he's been here for 2 years. He's fine. He might not play so much, but he is only 18, so there's more development room for him than there is for Cortez, who is 19 and therefore a little bit further along in his development. We then signed this guy, who's good, Hussein Naj. He is somehow Egyptian with the old Hungarian second name. He's pretty good. He's an Egyptian. When I signed him, he was in the Egyptian squad. He's obviously not played for Egypt yet, but he's a pretty good left back and comes in from Zamalek. So I just punched the microphone. So yeah, he'll be pretty good. I like the look of him. He's also young and there's some development room there. So yeah, I'm happy with that. We then signed Rafał Tabaczynski. He's a attacking midfielder who came from Piast Gliwice from the Ekstraklasa. I'm going to put him training to be a central midfielder properly, just because we don't play with attacking midfielders, so it doesn't make sense for him to be any good in that role. He's coming in on a free. We might be able to get some money for him, but he's also pretty good, so I'm hoping that we can use him as our kind of creative force in midfield. He can't cross, so there's no point in putting him in as a winger. We then signed Milomir Todorovic. He is a Serbian striker who has decent finishing, decent composure, and he's fast. His first touch is 10 again, so we might just find that he's exactly the same as Jantorno, but hopefully he's pretty good. He came from a team called Rad, which is pretty rad. I should have said cool. It would have been subverting the expectations. Sakibu Abi came in from Bukovina, who were relegated last season. So, he's obviously not the greatest player, but he did used to play well for them when he first signed. And we just need someone to sort of push Aboji on the left-hand side there. So that's what he's come in to do. We also signed Todor Dimitrov. There's loads of good centre-backs in this game. So again, I've signed him. He'll probably play a little bit. Weirdly, not worth very much money. I'm not quite sure why. But yeah, he's pretty good. I quite like him. He's a bit older, so he can do okay for us. He'll do a job. And then the last one, Marian Fuzler, who is basically better version of Abi. He comes in from Panduri in Romania on a free. He played pretty well for them, and he'll probably play pretty well for us. So we now have quite a nice rounded squad. We have lots of players. Western-super-Mare got promoted to the Premier League again. This is good. And you'll be excited to know that the 2062 World Cup final hasn't even been played, and we're about to start our season. So there is, I think it might be Spain versus Italy in the final, and we're going to play Shakhtar Donetsk. So we'll start with this squad. Yaya Bamba is the backup goalkeeper. Peripovic will play as the proper goalkeeper. Let's do our favourite thing in the world. Just clear all these things out. And then clear. There are some there. Clear them out. Ronaldo will come on as the second striker. We're going to put... Aboji can come in, and Cruz and Bogado, and then we will have two defensive options who will be Papo, who I tried to sell and just absolutely couldn't sell, and we'll have which one of the many players that we have here? Let's put Cortez on the bench. So let's do that. Numbers will have to be given. Bang, bang, bang. That doesn't make sense. Let's do that. There we go. Bang. Okay. So we beat these 2-0 in the last video. The last video that we played was the last game of the season last year, or, about sort of 6 weeks ago in game time. And we beat them 2-0 in what can only be described as a game that made me laugh because the quality was so poor. Let's see if we can do something similar this time. Oh, I thought we were just going to steal a goal straight away there. Come on, fellas. Doing well. Come on. Oh, Nazarenko! Oh. So also, in an exciting turn of events, we've been signing up players to... Okay, it was offside. Signing up players to longer contracts. So, for example, Nazarenko, what is progressing nicely as a right back. So I've put him into a long deal. Cruz has also been signed on to another deal, as has Requena, who's on the left. And there was one more, but I can't remember his name, because he's one of the players we don't play quite as much, but he's also come on a little bit, and so I have... Oh, go on. Yeah, that's nice. Gomez. Requena. Oh, terrible first touch. He has signed another new contract as well. So, yeah, we've signed quite a few of our slightly better squad players from last year onto better deals. That will, at the very least, allow us to capitalise on players like, for example, I feel like Cruz is a player who we could end up making some money from in the not too distant future, and so having him on a longer contract just guarantees that we at least make some money from him, unlike with Yilmaz, who we lost for free. So, I've just been doing some Ben deals. Business Ben, the Football Manager genius. Yeah, and what was I going to say? I also got, I got rewarded for our fine form with a new contract, despite having just led us to a fairly dismal season. The aim this year is to come mid-table again. That's what the board have given us to do. If I adjust my budget sliders around, I can get our transfer budget up to $1 million. I don't want to spaff all of our money in that one. Oh, go on. Oh, some nice play there. I don't want to spaff all our money away. I prefer to have it as... Oh, Perez, come on. I'd prefer to have it as wage budget potential if we need it. If we pick up or we wander through the season and find some players who I could just sign on a free and do like I did with that Fuentes guy and just sort of flip them. That gives us the sort of budget to do that. The one thing I noticed, or it suddenly sort of came clear to me, is that the reason that the foreign imports, particularly from South America, don't always do as well as maybe they look like they should, is because I can't ever scout them yet until I sign them, because they don't have, or we don't currently have the ability to scout outside of Europe. Oh no, good save from Peripovic. So that's why there's possibly, all of those imports that are from outside of Europe sometimes come with glaring faults, which you just can't necessarily, you can't tell if they're injury prone without having a scout report. Nice. So, those are the things that I only just suddenly realised. I was like, oh yeah, of course, I haven't actually been able to scout a single one of these players. They've all just been, they've got, statistically, they're better than the player I had before, Todorovic. Which doesn't always compute. They might be bad at big games, they might be bad at little games, or whatever. They might be a big game player. So yeah, that was one of the couple of things I tried to get the board to do. I tried to get them to improve our youth facilities, because obviously we play with quite a lot of young players, and so having better youth facilities would improve the ability to develop those players. We don't have a right midfielder on the bench. All right then. Okay, fine. Yeah, and I also, so I asked them to improve our youth facilities. They said no, they don't see the need. I said, it'll give us money. They said no, I don't see the need. And I want to ask them at some point to improve the scouting range, although I don't want to also start to overspend the money, because we still don't really make very much money throughout the year. All the turnover we have is through selling players, basically. So, we can get away with sort of mid-table finishes for a while until we make ourselves a bit more sustainable. Therefore, and not scout players properly. That's what I mean. the other thing that I was going to say but has slipped my mind and now I'm not sure if it will come back again. Oh, yeah, we have a new affiliate club. Our new chairman signed a deal with Zenit St. Petersburg. So we are now their feeder club. That gives them first dibs on our players. So I expect rather than them all going to these random Russian clubs, they'll start to go to Zenit, assuming they're actually good enough. And and it means that potentially we can get players in from them on loan. I did look through the Premier League for players who could come and join us on loan. There were a few. None of them were interested. I also had the Argentinian top division scoured for players who might be interested to join us on loan, and the Brazilian one. But there were 2 or 3 that were absolutely excellent, and we definitely should get in. But they would not join us on loan, which was a shame, but hardly really surprising. Let's try that, and let's try. Oops. I notice Requien is not playing very well either, so let's do that. Okay. Losing to Shakhtar in the first game of the season wouldn't be the end of the world. It wouldn't be a great result, but actually, to be fair to us, they're still probably operating at something like 14 or 15 times our monthly or yearly budget. Our yearly budget with their yearly budget, so we're fighting against the tide. We'll have to slowly turn things around. I think it might take 2 or 3 more years of coming roughly mid-table and starting to squeak our way into Europe again before we can start to make a tilt on the title. I also gave up completely with the Ukrainian Cup. I didn't even offer a very high bonus because you can offer like high, medium, or low bonuses for each competition you're in, and usually I put high for everything. And in fact, last season I did as well. This season I just didn't bother. We're not gonna we might nick through the first round, but we're not gonna get through the next one because we just don't have the squad with the non-foreigner rule in that competition, or the limited foreigner rule in that competition. No, good stop. His own composure. Good save from his own composure there. And I talked in the last video about how I had limited the number of subscriptions I have. That does, for the most part, speed things up as we go through between games and whatever, but in the transfer window it still means that I have 70 odd notifications each time. Each time I press the spacebar. So we'll only do this one game this time, and then I'll have a look at our fixture list, see if there's anything interesting that we might want to record. Tinguinia saves, and we'll decide when we do our next record. I'm struggling between desperately wanting to make progress and not wanting to sort of just be like, oh God, well, have we actually created a single chance? Oh, we've not been too bad. They've just had two good chances. We've had a clear-cut chance though. There we go. I can't be too frustrated with this game. We've not been that bad. And nobody would be expecting us to beat them, even though we do have a... Well, now I'm starting to lose that vibe. We shouldn't be losing 3-0. This is pretty poor now. We could at least get one. Let's get one more. Because I think we've got... Haven't we still got... Are we not still on our insane run of scoring? Yes, we are still on that insane run of scoring. Good. Well, I mean, if you're going to concede an own goal, why not get one back? It does help if you do that when the target scores a level. Equaling out your own mistake. We're still 2 goals down. Thanks, Alessan. Oh, go on. Let's have another. Go on and die. Another ball in. Ider clears. Bogado. It's just a comedy of errors. Babar. There's no possible way in which it's acceptable that he was onside there. Wellity. Paripovic clears. Oh, you clowns. Thank you. Peripovic. This is a position where we need to start thinking about getting a better goalkeeper. Because I suspect that I don't remember him being much worse than Ola, the guy we had 2 years ago, the one season we did well in the Premier League. But he obviously is. There's something about his stats. Maybe he's like particularly, cluck or whatever it is, eccentric. And that's what means that he's poor. Maybe he's just got bad decision making or something, but I don't know. He seems to be a bit weaker. Stuff goes through him a bit more than I would like. Okay, well, we did okay, guys. We did okay. Let's see what that does to us down in 13th. Well, obviously, but it's only been one game. We did at least score, which means we're on some savage run now of possibly 20 games without not scoring, but a 20-game scoring run. Mm-hmm. He's always highlighted as one of our better players. He's not bad. What's he bad at then? Handling, maybe that. He's pretty good. I guess, his eccentricity's not even that high. Aerial, he's tall, but he can jump. But do you reckon rushing out might change that? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Continue. So that was the first game. We lost 2-0. It is what it is. Let's look now at the fixtures. When do we play? Literally. Oh, man, what a start that is. Fucking hell. Okay, when's the mid-season break? Oh, you know what? Considering that Karpaty are part of that, let's just go for the last two. Let's play the home game against Karpaty and we'll play against Krivbas, and I will do the first half of the season and we'll see where we are, and hopefully we will be in a better position than we were last time, because we were within touching distance of the relegation zone last time. So there's some winnable games in there. I would class Krivbas, even though they had a good season last season, I would class them as a team we could beat. Dnipro as well, Tavria, Chornomorets, like that run all the way to possibly even there. That run there is crucial because, I mean, you've got the two newly promoted teams, Govela and Metallurg. You've got Arsenal and Tavria, who are also Rans every season. The same with Volyn, Sevastopol and Ilichevets. Odessa have lost all their funding, so there's potential that could be a game to target. Chornomorets obviously always sort of fuck us up, but I still think that they could be got at. So if we can nick in this run here, if we can get good results against them three, Metalist is probably not going to be a win. Win most of those, more than we lose to them, and then what's that? Then the end of that would be another sort of we could arguably get something against them, and those two as well. So we could be up there if we win if we win the games we should really arguably win, and nick a couple of points off of the bigger teams like Metalist and Shakhtar and Dinamo. There's no reason why we couldn't be within touching distance of the top four by the time I see you next, but we'll have to see. So, guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one, and we'll see how the new team is gelling. See you, bye!